Welcome back everyone. I am Rajdeep Acharya and today I am going to teaching you the introduction of plasma membrane transport system. It is the first part of this plasma membrane transport lecture series and this video is presented by Era of Zoology. So before starting the definition part, we need to know the basic concept of plasma membrane transport, about what is actually plasma membrane transport and why it is required for a cell to transport some molecules to inside and outside of the cell through plasma membrane. Actually, in a cell, there in the intracellular part of a cell, there are so many biochemical process, many functions are occurring. So a cell require nutrition, a cell require molecules, a cell require gases, a cell require some ions to regulate those functions that are actually occurring inside the cell, I mean the intracellular part of the cell. So this cell takes some ions, some gases, some molecules, some also ions to regulate those functions that are actually occurring inside the cell, I mean the intracellular part of the cell. And also this cell exposed out some molecules to the outside of the cell, I mean the extracellular part of the cell, according to its requirement. So the process of ions and molecules to move inside, I mean the intracellular part of the cell, and outside, I mean the extracellular part of the cell, through the plasma membrane selectively, I mean according to the requirement, is called as plasma membrane transport or membrane transport. So I hope you guys have understand the basic concept and the definition of this plasma membrane. Now we will be talking about those molecules that are actually used to transport to the inside and the outside of the cell. Sodium, potassium, calcium, and also chlorine and hydrogen ion are used to transport from the inside and outside of the cell. And there are also some molecules that used to transport. Metabolites like sugar, amino acid, nucleotides also used to transport. And also gases are O2, CO2, NO. These gases are used to transport from inside and outside of the cell. And we know that membrane transport are of two types. They are actually active transport as well as passive transport. Now we will be talking about the passive transport. In passive transport, the passive transport is differentiated into two types. One is simple diffusion, another one is facilitated diffusion. When we talk about diffusion, the term actually depicts that movement of a molecule from higher concentration to lower concentration. That means suppose the outer part of the cell is rich in oxygen molecule. Suppose the outer part, I mean the extracellular part of a cell is rich in high oxygen molecule. That means the density gradient of this molecule of oxygen is high, and the intracellular part of this cell is low in oxygen. That means the intracellular part is low density gradient in oxygen. So what will happen? Some molecules from the outer part, I mean the extracellular part of this cell, I mean some molecules of oxygen which is actually present in higher concentration in the extracellular part of the cell, will diffuse into the lipid bilayer, the phospholipid bilayer, and will enter into the intracellular part of this cell to maintain the density gradient. And actually this is simple diffusion. Now we will be talking about facilitated diffusion. So suppose the Na, the sodium ion concentration inside the cell is low and the sodium ion concentration outside the cell is high. That means the outer side is high density gradient in sodium ion, and the density gradient inside the cell is low for the sodium ion. What will happen? Here the sodium ion from inside the cell will enter into the outside of the cell, but here some protein channels, some membrane protein that will facilitate those sodium ion to enter, to exposed out to the outside part. So here the sodium ion will never exposed out outside the cell without the membrane protein, like aquaporin proteins, membrane protein help in this function. Suppose, and there are also some proteins, other proteins that used to help in this function. Here the membrane protein will attach with those molecules like sodium ion, and the sodium ion will pass through the channel protein, the channel protein, I mean some protein channels, and will exposed out outside the cell to maintain the density gradient. Now we will be talking about active transport. We know that active transport are of two types. One is primary transport and another one is secondary transport. So in case of primary transport and in case of secondary transport, both cases ATP is required. Active transport is a one kind of transport where energy is required, because here the molecules is going against the density gradient. Suppose we know that water is hydrophilic molecule. Okay, water is hydrophilic molecule, and we know that a cell is covered by plasma membrane, and in the constitution of plasma membrane we can see that plasma membrane is consist of lipid and protein, and in lipid bilayer there are 70 to 80% concentration of lipid is phospholipid. So we know that in phospholipid structure the head region of phospholipid is actually hydrophilic and the tail region of phospholipid is actually hydrophobic. And when the water molecule from outside of this I mean the extracellular part will pass out through the phospholipid bilayer to enter into the intracellular part of the cell, it must have to go through the hydrophobic region of this phospholipid bilayer. That means the water molecule which is actually hydrophilic will have to pass through the hydrophobic region of the phospholipid bilayer to enter into the intracellular part. So it is not actually possible for this water molecule without energy. So here what will happen, the ATP will help the water molecule to go against the density gradient, I mean the hydrophobicity layer, to enter into the intracellular part of this cell. So it is actually the basic concept of this active transport. Now the active transport and the passive transport different. Active transport is ATP dependent and passive transport does not ATP require. Active transport is very fast and instant, whereas the passive transport is not very fast, it is relatively slow. And the active transport usually transport against concentration gradient that I have told you before, and passive transport actually usually transported toward concentration, that means to maintain the density gradient outside and inside of the cell. And active transport cooperativity does happen, and in passive transport no cooperativity seen. So now we will be talking about some symport, antiport and uniport system. The transport, there are actually some transport type. Here in this pictorial view, here you can see that S is a molecule which is going from outside of this cell to inside of this cell through this channel protein, and this direction is one way. So uniport transport is a transport when one molecule or ion move from one part of this cell to another part of this cell. It is the example of this uniport is glucose transport through GLUT. And in case of symport, we can see that two molecules are moving to the same direction through this channel protein. That means two molecules or ion when move toward the same direction at the same time through the channel protein, it is actually called as symport. The example of symport is sodium glucose transport. And in case of antiports, here you can see that two molecules are going to the opposite direction at the same time through the channel protein, and this type of transport is actually used to call as antiport transport system. and the example of anti-port transport system is NAK ATPS pump. Actually it is a active transport system. So I hope you guys have learned the plasma membrane transport part 1, and in the next part we will be talking about the passive transport and active transport in details. Thank you so much for watching this video, and also if you guys like, then subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.